Rock and Roll Geek Show 822.
Still rocking after all these years.
This is the story of my rock and roll butler.
This is it, the show that started it all. Often imitated, but never equal. From San Francisco, USA. Online since 2004. It's the one and only Rock and Roll Geek Show. With the original Rock and Roll Geek, Michael Butler.
Welcome to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. My name's Michael Butler. Thanks a lot for joining me. I really appreciate it. Today is Wednesday, March 7th, 2018, and it is 7:20 p.m. when I'm recording this show. It's been a long time since I've actually just done a regular Rock and Roll Geek Show when I've just sat down and played some music, and that's what I'm going to do tonight. The last two shows have been interviews. I interviewed John Speck from the Fags, and I got a shitload of positive feedback from that. Thank you so much, everybody who gave the feedback. And the last show I did, I interviewed Robert Lawson, who wrote this book, Still Competition, the Cheap Trick book. And by the way, he just sent me the Nazareth book he wrote called Razimus Naz, and I read it on the plane to visit my daughter last week. I went to visit my daughter up in Tri-Cities area of Washington, and I read that book in its entirety. It's great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. So thank you everybody for listening to those two shows. Tonight is just a regular Rock and Roll Geek Show. I'm going to play some tunes, read some emails, play a couple audio comments, and just shoot the shit with you, my friends of the Rock and Roll Geek Show. I'm going to start the show off with a song from what is currently my favorite album of 2018. I posted something about this on, pardon me, I'm burping up this fine Tecate. I posted something about this on, I posted a video of a song from this album last night on the Facebook, and it got mixed reaction. A lot of people just didn't like it, but to me, I think it's really good. It's my favorite album so far of 2018. This is brand new Andrew WK. The record is called You're Not Alone. It is a combination of, he does this little, it's his first, all right, so back up. It's called You're Not Alone. It is the first album that he's done, he's released in like 13 years or something like that. He came and did an in-store signing a couple of days ago in San Francisco, and I had planned on going, but I was really sick and I was like, just wanted to go to bed. But the album is really, to me, it's really, really good. But a lot of people, you either get Andrew WK or you don't. I'm going to play a song from new Andrew WK. The album it's got like a few spoken word things. He gives you like, because if you don't know Andrew WK, well, he did this, he stopped playing music and went out and did these motivational speeches, and in the record You're Not Alone, there's like a few little motivational speeches inserts in, like a couple of minute motivational speeches, and it fits with the album really well. I like this album. I think every song on this album is good. I'm just picking one off the top of my head right now. I'm going to play something called I Don't Know Anything. This is not even anywhere near the best song in the album. The video is called Ever Again, which I posted on Facebook last night on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page, which I did not create, but I do approve people. Look for Rock and Roll Geek Show on the Facebook, and I'll approve you. But the video called Ever Again, I think that's the second single, or first or second single, I don't know. But it is a great video. I've watched it about 20 times, and every time I watch it, I find a new piece of awesome shit that I didn't notice the time before. It's edited really well. Andrew WK is doing all kinds of tongue-in-cheek stuff that you don't catch until you watch it a few times. But it's a great video, great song. But that's not the song I'm going to play. I'm going to play a song called I Don't Know Anything, which is not even the best song in the album, but I was thinking of doing a track-by-track of this album. I may do a bonus episode later this week if I have time, of a track-by-track of the new Andrew WK, but here's a little taste. This song is called I Don't Know Anything. You either love him or you just don't get him. I don't know, but I love him. Here you go. Brand new Andrew WK.
I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say. But that's alright. Yeah, that's okay. I don't know anything.
There you go. Brand new Andrew WK. That's I don't know anything from. You're Not Alone. Every time if I'm in a bad mood, all I have to do is put on anything from Andrew WK and it immediately cheers me up. The guy, something about Andrew WK I just love. I wish he wasn't all muscle bound like he is now. He didn't used to be. I saw him on the I Get Wet tour. By the way, if you don't have I Get Wet, that is one of the greatest, to me, it's one of the greatest albums ever made. That album is a masterpiece from top to bottom. It's a full-on assault of super catchy, blasting music. This album is too, actually. The whole album is like positive affirmation type music, and it's like, he's like this really positive guy and everything. The video, Ever Again, the guitar, there's 3 guitar players in the band, and they're all rocking out like really hard. But one of the guys in the band, I just found out, played in Damone. His name is Dave Pino. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He also played in Waltham too, but I was a big Damone fan. And the guy's a really cool guitar player. I'd probably like to get him on the show and talk to him for a while. But I highly recommend this new Andrew WK. I should do a track by track. There you go. Brand new Andrew WK. All right, friends. Why don't we thank some people who donated to the show? Without your show, friends, this donation would die a horrible death. All right, let me take that again. I think I need to take another sip of this fine Tecate. This is my 3rd one of the day. Let me find some music to play in the background. How about brand new Dizzy Reed? Some people on the forums on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group said that this new Dizzy Reed album is a great album. I have not heard it, so we'll play this in the background. Dizzy Reed. Thank you for donating to the show, friends. There are several ways you can donate to the Rock and Roll Geek Show. The show is as Adam Curry says, it's a value for value model. If you think the show is any good, donate what you think the show's worth. If you think the show is the greatest show ever and worth $1,000 an episode, that sounds pretty good. If you think the show's worth $1,000 an episode, send me $1,000. If you think the show's a piece of crap and I should be sending you money, then don't send me anything. Just that simple, friends. There are several ways to donate. First of all, if you don't have any money at all, you can go to rockandrollgeek.com, scroll down to the Amazon link, and anytime you buy anything on Amazon, I will get a kickback. If you don't want to spend donate any money to me, or you can go to patreon.com/RNRGeek, like these people did. My good friend Mike Brown, who I went to my very first concert with, donates $25 every episode. Thank you to Joe Pawlak, who donates $6.66 every episode. Thank you to Bette Wood, who donates $5 an episode. Thank you to Daniel Segan for $5 every episode. Thanks to friend of the show and friend of mine, Michael Street, for the $5 every episode. He's coming into town, I think. He's going to crash at my house. We might go see The Darkness. Thank you to Ken Kennedy for the $5. All right, let's see what else they got. Mother Teresa. How's this sound?
Queen, that's
All right. Thank you to my good friend Chiaki Hinohara from the Metal Moment podcast and the Japanese Metalhead Show. Congratulations on 10 years of podcasting, friend. Donates $5 every episode. Thank you to Brian Springer for the $5 every episode. Thanks to my podcast mentor and co-host of Mad at Dad, Dave Slusher, for the $5 every episode. I don't know if you noticed, but I don't have much of a voice. I've been sick, so I'm just trying to get over it now. I apologize for the vocal fry. Thank you to Patrick Shanahan for the $2 every episode on Patreon. Thank you to Paul Underwood for the $2 every episode. Thanks to Mario Zoth, Zothy9 in the forums and on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page, which I did not create, but I do approve, people, and maintain. Thanks to Bruce McMillan for the $2. Thanks to Matthew Hunt, fellow kayaker, Matthew Hunt, for the $2. Thanks to Eric Stoll for the $2. Thanks to Robert Harvey for the $2. Thanks to Ron Embody, new donor, for the $1, excuse me. Thanks to Three Legs, Four Wheels for the $1 every episode. Thanks to Bondstone for the $1. Thanks to Mike Dixon for the $1. Thanks to John Richardson for the $1. And finally, from patreon.com/ONRGeek, Corey Kohler for the $1. What else we have here? This is not blowing me away. This sounds pretty good.
I like to set you straight, but that's not my game. You push your hardest out of disrespect. Yesterday still wants to blow me away. Might sound crazy, what did you expect? There's gonna be time.
Oh, that's pretty good. You can also donate to the show through PayPal. By the way, all these links are at rockandrollgeek.com. Just hit the donate button. You can go to PayPal and donate, like Chris Atherton donated $25. Thanks to Chris. Thank you, Chris Atherton. I appreciate it. I'll take a sip of this fine Tecate to you, my friend. The song's pretty good. I want to hear a little bit more of this. Dizzy Reed, if you don't know, he was the keyboard player for, he might still be the keyboard player for Guns N' Roses. That sounds pretty good. I like that. Thank you to Chris Atherton for the $25. Thanks to Douglas Free for the $20. Thanks to Elodie Johns, my first girlfriend, for the $20. Elodie just had a fire in her house. Her house burnt down, I think. Saying hopes and prayers for, thoughts and prayers for Elodie Johns. Thoughts, prayers, and AR-15s. All right.
Cheers to our oblivion.
Thank you to friend of the show and friend of mine, Ralph Miller, for the $10. Thanks to Dave Jackson and the School of Podcasting for the $10. Thanks to Dave Franco for the $10. Thanks to Jeff and Sherry Thielalaki for the $10. Thank you to James Venners for the $10. Thanks to Todd Cunningham, friend of mine and friend of the show, for the $10. Thanks to Jason Shepard for the $10. Thanks to BJ Lisco, also known as Bradley Lisco, for the $10. Thanks to Craig Vasilov for the $5.
And someday you're gonna break through. Congratulations. Can you stop?
That's pretty good.
Look what you wear.
This record is called Rock and Roll Ain't Easy. I like this song. What else we got here? Let's try Fragile Water. I have not listened to this album at all. So I'm going to have to give this a better listen. Thank you to Sigmund Heidacher for the $5. Thanks to John Boveri for the $5. Thanks to Brett Garsky for the $5. Thanks to John Tennis for the $5. Thanks to Greg Long for the $5. Thanks to Jeff C.A. for the $5. Thanks to Alex James Muscat for the $5. What else we got? Dirty Bomb. The Dirty Bomb. Pretty good too. Huh. I'm going to have to give this record a good listen. Where was I? Thanks to Alex James Muscat for the $5. Thanks to Eric Lentz for the $5. Thanks to Dean Gillespie for the $5. Thanks to Kelly Mitchell for the $5. Thanks to Richard Strom for the $5. Thanks to Andrew Howe for the $5. Andrew Howe came and visited me from Australia with his lovely wife. We had a nice dinner in North Beach. Thank you, Andrew Howe. Thanks to Stephen Mascord for the $5. I'm in his book called Touchstones. Thanks to Dale Roller for the $5. Thanks to Christopher Del Grande for the $5. Kelly Mitchell donated $5 again. Thank you, Kelly Mitchell. I take us into this fine Tecate to you. Thanks to Jer O'Carroll for the $5. Thanks to John Offenlach for the $5. What else we got here? It's a good rock and roll record.
The storm is coming. The storm is coming.
That's good. Thanks to, where am I here? John Jero Carroll for the $5. Thanks to John Offenlach for the $5. See, I get distracted and I lose my place. I apologize, friends. Thanks to John Skiller for the $2. Thanks to Bradford Page for the $2. Thanks to Peter Spark for the $2. Thanks to Michael Williams for the $2. Thanks to Adrian Boschon, Bosch Rock on the forums and the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page, which I did not create, but I do maintain. Thanks to Deborah Dreyfus, if that's your real name, for the $2. Thanks to Richard Fusey for the $2. Thanks to Lassie Satterhagen for the $2. Thanks to John Skiller for the $2. And finally, thanks to William Moffat for the $1. Thank you, friends. Without your donations, this show would die a horrible, putrid, stench-filled, getting mauled by a sea otter in your kayak until you're dead kind of death. All right, let this song roll out.
My mystery, the pressure's pounding and it's raining down as this cold will tear you apart. In places full of self-absorbed, it seemed like a great place for you to start. Your train stays fast, skimming by the disasters in the wake of permanent scars. Well, I got sorted from the side of the tracks, now my heart's still stranded from the mark you branded on me. And with every laugh, I knew your tears were sure to follow. Looking back at our demise, so blatant was our denial. It was never hard to grasp, but so hard to swallow. Mystery and exile, you know our love's not in vain. Forever you're the stepchild, devastation is your game. And all of my intentions, they were never what they seemed. Now in exile you remain so far from me. did not win. You're a classic cover on a book of past lovers and the key you hold to the vault that they're locked in. We fell from grace, waiting for our break. My neck's on being a charm, but you always vanish at the end of the day, so you can break the glass and trip another false alarm. Now your blood's all down my arm. Mystery and exile separate the love and shame. Forever you're the stepchild, or you passed on so much blame. And all of my persuasions only seem to fuel your misery. Now in exile you remain so far from me. My mystery, oh my mystery, come back to me.
All right, there you go. That's pretty good. I'm gonna have to give that a better listen. Thank you again, everybody who donated. I really appreciate it, friends. Seriously, if you don't donate to the show, this show will blah blah blah. You get it. Okay. All right. I got a couple of audio comments. Should I play one now, or should I? All right, I'll play an audio comment now.
Hello, Michael Butler.
Hello.
This is Eric the Rock and Roll Plebe
Hey,
here
plebe.
with a hopefully quick review. But first, I want to toast you with
I'll toast you back, friend.
Weyerbacher Double Simcoe
Ooh,
IPA.
Ooh, okay.
First of the day.
I'll take my third one of the day. Tecate.
So this review is for Al Stewart. I don't know if he's really in you or your
The
list.
Year of the Cat, Dad. I'm not a huge Al Stewart fan, but I got nothing against the guy. He's got a good voice, actually.
Wheelhouse, but I kind of like him. He's got that Donovan,
Yeah, a little
or
bit.
Cat Stevens, or
I heard him on
Pawlak.
Eddie Trunk. Eddie Trunk was doing. I listened to Volume on Sirius, and Eddie Trunk was on some cruise. It might have been the Moody Blues cruise or something like that. What I don't know what they call it, but it was a Moody Blues cruise, and I think Al Stewart was playing on. He was on, and he interviewed him, and he had a good sense of humor. I like the guy.
type vibe. Some of the music is kind of light, but it's really melodic, and I like his voice a lot. So he played here February 13th.
I have one
Sellersville Theater.
I have
which is
one Al Stewart tune on my entire iTunes. What is it called? It is called Midnight Rocks. How's it sound? Let's hear a little bit of it. All right, well, there you go. All right.
45 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
Okay.
It's a cool place that probably sits under 500 people, if that. And a lot of interesting acts.
Oh, he also
come
does
here.
Time Passages.
I've seen Michael Monroe and Cheap Trick, hardcore superstars, even like Peter Murphy, and all kinds of cool people come here. I think Ross the Boss is coming next week.
Oh, nice.
So
the Dictators.
Al Stewart was sold out.
Sold
I
out.
got there just a little bit before showtime. I had gone over to a small brewery, did a tasting over there, and then I headed over to the theater. The merchandise stuff was right by the door. I checked that out. He had a lot of CDs mostly, and it was some of the most expensive stuff I'd ever seen any band have.
Huh.
I think they were all signed, but he was charging $40, $60, $100
For a CD?
CDs. So I'm curious how much he sold. I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Why would you
I guess,
charge
but
$60 to $100 for a CD?
You can buy one of those box set things that has his first 4 albums for around $10 on Amazon. So
Yeah. Try the
kinda crazy
cutout
some of the
bins.
So he had an
Well, you know Al Stewart, his signature is probably worth big money.
band. They were called the Empty Pockets, and they ended up serving as his backing band. They played 3, 4, 5 songs to open. I thought they were pretty horrible. At least at first, their music was kind of light 90s Christian rock sounding.
Oh, really? Christian
But
rock.
near the end, I guess they won me over a little bit. The guitar player was pretty good, and
They
were
put the power of
humble
God into you.
about the whole thing. They were talking about how they knew people weren't there to see them and blah blah blah. So they seemed like okay people, but near the end, this flute, saxophone, cowbell kind of guy came out, multi-instrumentalist, and so he was there too. So Al was backed by the drummer, bass player, keyboardist, lead guitarist, and then this guy playing the saxophone flute. Al was playing the acoustic guitar. What else? The show was the anniversary of his Year of the Cat album.
What was it, 50th?
So he played a couple songs, and then he played one of his bigger hits, Time Passages.
Time Passages.
And then he just went into the whole Year of the Cat album.
Oh, he did top to bottom, huh? Nice.
It was basically a set. I mean, it sounded good. He told a lot of stories in between. Some of the stories sound like ones he probably tells a lot, but it was cool. I thought he was cool. Like he's probably in his 70s, mid 70s, maybe close to 80. I don't know. And he kind of looked like Mr. Rogers.
Close to 80. There you go. He could be close to 80.
Blue collar shirt and khaki pants, but
isn't it amazing?
Really cool.
We're now going to see 80-year-old rock stars play. Who would have, when you were a kid, would you have ever thought you'd be going to see bands play that are approaching 80 years old? Not me, friends.
He's got a long career, and I don't know. It's a career I wish I had. So anyway, it was a good show. I'll close out here. I'll just fade out with a short clip of one of his songs from that show. Cheers, Michael. Take care. Bye.
Thank you, Eric Rock and Roll Plebe. You too can leave me a show review. Home tonight. This Time Passages, right? That's nice music for an 80-year-old guy. You too can leave me an audio comment or show review. You can call area code 706-621-ROCK, or you can do like Eric the Rock and Roll Plebe did, which is the way I prefer it. Just record it on your phone or on your computer or whatever, and email it to rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. Thank you, Eric Rock and Roll Plebe. I also got an email from Eric. Michael, maybe you've heard of them, maybe not. I don't know if this would be your thing or not, but late last year I discovered this band called White Reaper. Despite their awful band name and press photos, I really dig their album 2017 World's Best American Band. Made my personal top 10. It's garage power pop, has a cockiness and lots of riffs and melody, though occasional pinch a bit from other bands. I hear Joan Jett, T-Rex, Replacements, Paul Westerberg, Kinks, The Strokes. Attaches one tune, and I'm not going to send you the entire album because that would just be wrong. The band is called White Reaper. Listen to that. This song is called Judy French. There you go. White Reaper. I'm a little bit out of it. I apologize, friends. I don't know if you know, but, well, you probably do know. Well, Judas Priest I think their album's coming out on Friday. The album's called Firepower. Well, they're playing at the Warfield in San Francisco, and tickets are like $250 because it's a theater. And well, they started off at like $60, but they sold out so quick. You have to get them on the secondary market, and they're like $250 or something like that. And that was too rich for my blood, by the way. But so anyway, recently, after they announced this tour, and tickets went on sale and everything, they announced that Glenn Tipton has Parkinson's disease and is not going to be on this tour. So that means no original members of Judas Priest, no original guitar players of Judas Priest are going to be playing on this tour. Everybody bought their tickets. Somebody posted on the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook group. I believe Stephen Crocker did, and he's pissed off as hell about it. He's like, I bought my tickets, and now no Glenn Tipton, no KK Downing. All we're getting is what's the new guy's name that I like, that I interviewed? Why can't I think of his name? You know who I'm talking about. Jeez, what an idiot. Anyway, yeah. So he's pissed off as hell, man. And I can't say that I blame him. He thinks that that they're being that Judas Priest is pulling a scam on us because they knew. He says he thinks that they knew that Glenn Tipton was not going to be able to do this tour, and they waited until tickets were sold before they announced it. I've heard mixed things that tickets are not selling well in a lot of places, but in San Francisco, I think they're selling pretty well, or they're sold out already. He thinks that Judas Priest is ripping the fans off. I think at the very least they should offer refunds, but I don't think they're offering refunds to people. I'm glad that I didn't buy a ticket for $250 because if I bought a ticket and Andy Sneed was there instead of Glenn Tipton, Andy Sneed's the guy who produced the thing. Richie Faulkner, that's the other guitar player. Richie Faulkner's a great guitar player. But do I want to see Judas Priest with just Halford and Ian Hill, the original members? They could, and then what came out was KK Downing was pissed off that he was shocked. He says he was shocked. I don't know if he was pissed off, but he said he was shocked that they didn't invite him to take Glenn Tipton's place to come back for the tour. And then he and Halford got into this thing online in social media, social media, bad deal, my friends, bad deal, social media. Anyway, so they're fighting. It would have been cool to see KK back in the band. I guess Richie Faulkner would have had to play Glenn Tipton's parts, but I'm sure he can. Richie Faulkner's shredding guitar player. It looks super cool. It would have been nice to see KK back in the band. Now you're stuck with Richie Faulkner and Andy Sneed. I have a feeling the reason they didn't ask KK back in the band, I think the reason, this is just off the top of my head and it's just a feeling that I have, but I think that the reason KK, let me take a sip of this fine Tecate. My throat's getting a little bit dry here. I think the reason KK Downing left to begin with is because I think he and Halford have a problem with each other. I don't think those two guys like each other. Just a feeling I have. I have nothing to go on other than my feeling. I have no proof of this, but when KK was talking about he was shocked that he wasn't allowed back and that he wasn't asked back, he mentioned that he had a problem with one or two of the guys in the band, and I'm pretty sure that he and Halford got something going on with each other. I just got a feeling about it, and I have a feeling that my feelings are right, damn it. But if you bought tickets to see Judas Priest, everybody's saying, oh, well, we should go because we need to pay tribute to Glenn Tipton. No, friend. I mean, if you want to go see Judas Priest, that's fine. Their album's coming out on Friday, I heard. And from what I've heard on every song that I've heard is that I like a lot. But just to go and spend $250 just to support Glenn Tipton, you're giving them your money. You're not supporting Glenn. I guess you are supporting Glenn Tipton if you're giving them $250. But I think you all should be entitled to a refund if you so should want it. Just my thoughts. I'm glad I'm not going. I saw him last year, or last time they came, with the Redeemer of Souls, Eric Mortensen, friend of the show and friend of mine, Morto's Metal Museum, and the guy who does the Rock and Roll Geek show, Taxes. We went to see him, and I interviewed Richie Faulkner, and it was a good show. It was fun. Redeemer of Souls, not a great album. It's okay. I have a feeling that... What's the new album going to be called? Shit, I don't even fucking know. Firepower or something like that? Yeah, Firepower. I think it's going to be a lot better. But $250 to see no Glenn Tipton, to see no KK Downing. Ian Hill, okay, but he just stands there and plays. Halford, he's going to do the usual raps. Welcome to hello, San Francisco. You ready for the metal gods? You're not going to hear Turning Circles. You might hear Heading Out to the Highway if you're lucky. You'll probably hear, maybe they'll play Hellbent for Love, and maybe they won't. You won't hear Diamonds and Rust. You might hear Green Man at least. Yes, it will be a good metal show. Black Star Riders are on the bill, and who else is playing? I think it's a pretty good bill, actually. $250, not me, my friends. All right, that being said, why don't we play a new Judas Priest song? This song is called Never the Heroes. All right, there you go. Brand new Judas Priest, Never the Heroes. It's good. It's not anything as good as Point of Entry, which is my favorite Judas Priest album. The older Judas Priest had, it's catchy, it's good metal, but the old Judas Priest had a pop sensibility about it. They were basically they were pop songs with metal guitars. But I still like this. When the album comes out, I will get it and I will do a track by track review for you, friends, because I got to make the sacrifices for the friends of the rock and roll. All right, enough of that shit. Okay. Another audio comment. Before I play another audio comment, also something happened when I was, since the last time I've done a Rock and Roll Geek show, other than the 2 interviews. One of my favorite bass players of all time, Craig MacGregor, died. Bass player for Foghat. I was camping when I heard this. Somebody sent me a text and said, with a link to this article on Blabbermouth, Foghat bassist Craig MacGregor died earlier today, February 9th, after a long battle with lung cancer. He was 68 years old. On behalf of Craig MacGregor's family and the Foghat family, it is with great sadness that we are letting you know that we have lost our brother, good friend, husband, father, and bandmate this morning. That's what the band Foghat said. He passed peacefully with his wife, Lisa MacGregor, in his wife, Lisa MacGregor's arms after a prolonged battle with cancer. Please respect the privacy of blah, 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 blah. Rest in peace, Thunderfingers. That guy was one of my favorite bass players of all time. I would just go see Foghat play at it. They would play the state fairs here all the time, and I would see him just about every time. It was so entertaining watching that guy play. He didn't jump around or anything like that, but the shit he did with his fingers and the playing, he was a bass playing monster. It was always my dream to get a bass lesson from that guy, because his bass playing he came in the band on the album before Foghat Live, which was Night Shift, I think. I'm not sure, but that guy was a bad ass bass player. He had a thing of baby powder sitting on his SVT behind him at all times. He would, after every song, he would throw baby powder all over his hands, and you see a cloud of baby powder. I always thought when he announced that he had cancer, it crossed my mind that, do you think that talcum powder could have contributed to lung cancer? Because he had been using that shit since I've ever seen him play. And as far as I know, he's been using it his whole career. So that can't be good for you. But man, I would love to have had a bass lesson from that guy. I've tried to play Slow Ride, the bass solo on Slow Ride that's on Foghat Live. It is just badass. It is completely bad. That guy was such a good bass player and such fun to watch. I met him after one of those state fair things. Me and Craig and the rest of the male groupies and the butlers went up and to their merch stand and just kissed their asses and stuff. And he was a really nice guy. I didn't have the nerve to ask him I think I might have actually said I would like to get a bass lesson from me, and I think he probably smiled or whatever, and I think I got my picture taken with him. Rest in peace, Craig MacGregor. That guy did not get the credit he deserved for being the badass bass player. So good of a bass player, and a nice guy, and he is going to be missed. I have no desire whatsoever to see Foghat now. They have the guy who used to play with Pat Travers, who was Pat Travers' road manager. I know he's friends with friend of the show, Chuck Spear. Seems like a nice enough guy, but he's no Craig MacGregor. Craig MacGregor was, to me, with the drummer whose name escapes me. Fuck, Roger Earl, the drummer for I think Roger Earl's the drummer. Dave Peverett gone from Foghat, Lonesome Dave. The guitar player, the slide guitar player, he's gone. Craig MacGregor gone. The only remaining guy, Roger Earl, the drummer. Charlie Hunn is now the singer for Foghat. He was the singer on Weekend Warriors, Ted Nugent album. Foghat, great band to see at the State Fair. If they come to your town, go see them at the State Fair. They play great tunes, but there's no Craig MacGregor. I'm going to miss that guy, and I'm never going to get that bass lesson. And in honor of Craig MacGregor, one of my favorite Foghat tunes, here you go. Rest in peace, my friends.
Feeling good, can't be real. Must be dreaming with my driving wheel. Rolling on, driving on. Come to me and rock me all night long. We got a road going too good to stop. Flying high, we got too far to drop. Everybody needs somebody to love. I got you, and that's what I love. You're my driving wheel. You're my driving wheel. You're my driving wheel. I'm alone, stay the road. Move my body, hit it, rock my soul. Let me ride, let me slide. Got that love and feeling way down inside. You got me walking, going round and around. You got me talking, but I can't hear a sound. Love comes easy when the going is tough. Maybe crazy, or maybe in love. You're my driving wheel. You're my driving wheel. You're my driving Every night feeling high by right. Can't believe all the love that I feel. Easy riding, love inside. You're my love, you're my driving wheel. You're my driving wheel. You're my driving wheel. You're my driving wheel. Keep on driving me, baby. You're my driving wheel. I love the way I feel. 'Cause you're my driving wheel. Let me ride. Let me slide.
There you go. The great Craig MacGregor. I got an email a long time ago, and I've been meaning to talk about this for the longest time, because there's this huge buzz on this band called Greta Van Fleet. Everybody is raving about these guys. These guys are so young. They're I'll open up the number 4 here. Hold on. Somebody sent me an email way back. Adam Brushes sent me an email like way back in like before Halloween of last year. Let me see if I can find the email. All right, here we go. Hey, Michael, I've been hearing some buzz around the band Greta Van Fleet. I ignored it until Alice Cooper brought them up. I checked out their 4-song EP, and I love it. They sound a lot like Zeppelin. I know you're not a huge Zeppelin fan, but I'd like to know your thoughts. I know even if it's not your cup of tea, it's cool to hear 4 young kids play this sound. Their band, everybody's raving up in arms because they sound exactly like Led Zeppelin. And they're super young kids. The youngest one is like, I don't know, like 18 years old, and the rest of them are like 21, 22. So this band of young kids that sounds exactly like Led Zeppelin. So I'm going to play a little bit of Greta Van Fleet. You've probably already heard them. I'm going to find them on YouTube because I do not have the album.
There was a time when the next
we'll wait
big
for the
thing
ad
was stuff between
for this advertisement to be done. I'm going to turn it down here. So yeah, they're these kids. They sound exactly like Led Zeppelin. The singer. Oh, here we go. Let me turn it up here. Yeah, if you like Led Zeppelin, everybody's raving on them, which I'm glad that rock has got a little bit of buzz. The singer has short hair, wears Birkenstocks. Bass player is the young one, I think. He's like 18 years old. Plays his bass really high. They're great musicians. Selling out everywhere they play. When people say how great they are and ask me my opinion on it, for whatever my opinion's worth, I think, okay, they're young kids or they're young guys. They're not really, 18 years old. Yeah, okay. But I just think back to a band in 1979. Turn them up a little bit. So you can hear. Something about the guys. They don't seem to have. They don't seem to have the real rock and roll, dragged through the mud, lived it. I don't know if I'm saying the right thing, but they just don't seem to have the real rock and roll spirit to me. I think back to this band in 1979 or 78. It was 5 kids. I think the oldest one in the band when their first album came out might have been 17 years old. I'm not talking about the Runaways, although that's another good example. Another good example to Runaways. I'm talking about a band that by the time their second album came out, they had already they put out their first 2 albums were classics. Does this ring a bell? Every guy in the band when this album came out was under 18 years old, I believe. Now, come on. Good luck to Greta Van Fleet. But Greta Van Fleet... and all the people that say, oh, they're young, it's so great to have a young band doing this. Just think back to 1980 When Def Leppard, 81, their second album, High and Dry, one of the greatest albums ever made. And they weren't even all 20 years old yet. This one? And how about this one? 17 years old, 1980. So what do I think about Greta Van Fleet? I hope they make it huge so that rock gets... Wait a minute. Let me think about that. I hope they make it huge so that rock can be back on the charts and we can have rock. I guess so we can have rock music on award shows and stuff, but do I care if rock is back in the mainstream? No, I don't give a fuck. I really don't. There's so much great rock music out there. It doesn't need to be in the mainstream for me. You friends, you and I know where to find it. But Greta Van Fleet is not a Def Leppard. First three Def Leppard albums. Come on. On Through the Night, High and Dry, Pyromania. Pyromania not as much, but those first two Def Leppard albums, come on. And how about this one? Come on, Greta Van Fleet, put something out like this. I guess people in the mainstream are so desperate for rock music now that they're glad to have these kids, Greta Van Fleet, carrying the torch. The Friends, there's a lot better than Greta Van Fleet. There's just something about him does not seem authentic to me. Listen to that. And your lead singer in a band that's supposed to be carrying the torch for rock and roll, for the new wave of rock and roll or whatever, you better have hair that goes over your ears, man. The kid's got an office boy haircut. He looks like a kid in a mailroom at an office. Grow some hair. It's rock and roll, man. All right, enough of that. I'm no Eddie Trunk with the rants, but that you get my drift. Okay. All right, an email. Michael Butler, I listened to your podcast today with John Speck from the Fags. That was a fantastic interview. Being a friend of the show, Detroit chapter, I've seen Horse, the Orbiton, Sponge many times, and the Fags around this great city a long time ago. And I have to say, your podcast is one of the best ones when it comes to bands like these. I've already purchased 3 albums from Amazon today alone after listening to your podcast. I'm Tecate. I bought their self-titled EP, I'm With Her, and Light 'Em Up. I'm looking forward to listening to these. You are the one that got me addicted to the Wild Hearts, and I don't know how much I can thank you for that. So once again, I'm burping. It's fine, Tecate. Pardon me. Thanks for the fantastic podcast interview with John Speck, and got to be proud of these kids from Detroit. Which leads me to this audio comment from friend of the show. Hello, friend of the show. Where are you there?
Billy the C.
Oh, well. Okay, I had it turned down here.
Hi, Michael.
Oh, good quality.
It's Billy the C. I don't know
hey,
if you
Billy.
still remember me, but
I remember you, friend. Billy the C.
I've been listening to the Rock and Roll Geek show for about 11 or 12 years, probably.
Oh, I appreciate it, friend.
And I just
I
needed
think he's in a wind tunnel.
Call, leave you a message because you did something I really, really enjoyed, which you've done many, many times over the years.
There you go.
You know, I think the last time I left you a message was...
Dadmouth and Jasper, I believe.
Back, I hate to say, back in 2012 maybe. 6 years ago.
I think he's calling from work. He's an air conditioner repairman.
The message I left was about your show, Good Clean Fun, your podcast with your buddy Jasper. And Jasper kind of...
He's repairing air conditioners and listening to music in the background.
Just rubbed me the wrong way. And I called you up to just say, you know, why do you need to do a show with this guy? And turned into a 20-minute rant.
Yeah, there you go.
Which you decided to play on your next podcast with him.
That's what I do.
To be honest, I felt kind of bad when I listened to it. At first, I was like so excited. Oh, Michael's going to play my message.
Jasper did.
But then, when you played it, it made me kind of sound petty, I think.
It was all good, clean. It was all good fun,
I did
friend.
apologize. Not directly, but I did tell him at a later date. I told you that, you know, I apologize.
The sound quality of his call is horrible.
Opinion, and probably something I didn't tell you at the time was, you know, one of the things
I think Billy the C is trying to tell me that he liked the John Speck interview. I think
ripping on him about was his taste in music, and I think I was managing a band around that time, or early, well, it must have been much earlier because I wasn't managing a band in that year, so it was probably a lot earlier. But
I love Billy the C.
I was managing a band, and I had sent you one of their songs, and you were gonna play it on Good Clean Fun, and you know, do a rating. And I think the song you played the song, and it wasn't even 2 bars into the song, and he was like saying what a shit piece of shit it was. You know, you couldn't even listen. He couldn't even listen to it, and I think that's what kind of maybe pissed me off.
Okay, that's all right.
Anyway, I don't want to go back.
Yes, no, we don't want to go back.
I just wanted to tell you that I've enjoyed your show over the years, so many times.
Well, thank you, friend.
So much, and you know, I always look forward to Butler's year-end top 10 records because a lot of times you play and have on your list stuff that I either never heard or never took the time to listen to. And I've found a lot of good music through you and your show and that list. And so this year when you had the Fags on there as one of your top 10, I was really excited. I knew you liked the Fags, but, you know, a Detroit band, of course, that's where I'm from. But I didn't know how much you liked them, I guess. So that excited me. And then a week or so later, a couple weeks later, I guess, more maybe, this past week, I was on my way to work, and I listened to the podcast, you know, in my car on the way to work a lot of times, and I pulled up my phone list of what the new downloads were from the podcasts I subscribed to, and of course you're at the top of the list.
Oh, well, thank you, friend.
There it was, an interview with John Speck, and I was like, no way. I was so excited. That brightened up my whole day, because let me tell you, I'm not going to tell you my age, but let's put it this way. The Fags are the best rock and roll band I'd heard in the last 20 years.
Okay, I'm going to guess you're about 56 years old, William.
It's not an exaggeration. And, you know, everybody's got an opinion, you know. Obviously, even Jasper had an opinion about music. And, you know, my opinion is my opinion, yours is yours. But, you know, sometimes I think it's important that people understand at least your perspective on music and where you come from. You know, and in my case, you know, I was lucky enough I was very young, when I first heard the MC5 and the Stooges, but I was lucky enough to go to those shows. I saw Iggy and the Stooges.
I'm going to guess maybe he's 62.
Right after their first album came out, and I saw the MC5 many times. 2 of the greatest rock bands in the world, I think, ever.
Yeah, he could be close to 70.
You know, now they have this mythical, you know, kind of thing going for them. But at the time, those were my 2 favorite bands. You know, when I was real young, it was the Beatles and the Stones, and then the MC5 and the Stooges were my favorite groups.
Well, I think you and Jasper have more in common than you think.
I've seen the great rock bands, you know. And let me tell you something, a great MC5 show was better than any huge, you know, band that I have gone and seen through my later years in life, you know, and when I was in my 20s and 30s. And then in from 70 until, the early 90s, I played with a Detroit legend myself named Mitch Ryder.
Oh,
so
that's
I played
right.
in Mitch's band for 13 years.
That's right. I forgot about
And
that.
then in the 90s, I
Detroit
guess
Wills.
we could say retired from music, got a day job. I've been doing that same kind of work ever since then. And somewhere in the early 2000s or mid 2000s, I happened to hear this band, the Fags. I don't know if I heard it on the radio first or it was the internet. I can't remember, but I thought I heard it.
Maybe you heard him on the Rock and Roll Geek
It
Show.
was the first song, and then I had to check it out. And I thought, God, where did these guys come from? I just excited me so much. There was such great music, great sound, great songs, So I decided I needed to go see him play. And I went down to this place that John talks about in the interview, that they're going to be playing a show this month called The Magic Bag, which is only about 3 miles from my house. And
You could practically walk.
I went. It was Saturday night, and I tried to convince my old lady to go. She didn't want to go, and a couple of my friends were gonna go with me, and then they backed out at the last minute.
Did
so
you go?
I ended up going by myself.
Oh, that's
to
good.
see him because I wanted to see
I
him
prefer
play
to go to shows by myself, to be honest with you.
live. This was in the heyday. They were at the top of their game, and the Magic Bag was packed. It was amazing that I even got a ticket to get in. That's how many people were there. And there was like 3 bands. Of course, they were the headliners. And I remember, I wanted to tell you this story because I want you to understand how great they were live. I was standing like at the back of the theater, waiting for them to come on. I think the second band was playing, and John happened to just walk by me, and I saw him. And of course, I'd never seen him in person before, but I knew from pictures what he looked like. And so I stopped him, and told him who I was, and told him how much I was looking forward to hearing him play. And I just wanted to say this part of the story, because the guy was so gracious and nice to me. Somebody who, I'm sure, so I'm a fan, but you don't have to be that nice, especially when you're getting ready to play. And I told John, I said, I'm so happy to be here and so excited to see you play that the people I asked to come ended up not, backing out on me. So I came by myself. And let me tell you something, I don't go out to bars by myself, and I hadn't at that point, probably in 10 years, gone to a bar to see music by myself. And I said, but even though I'm here by myself, I'm really looking forward. And he stopped me. He goes, dude, you're not here by yourself. You're here with us. Now you're with us. That's the kind of guy
That's
he
touching,
was,
man. That's very
And
touching.
I noticed the same thing when he,
Yes.
at the end of your interview, how gracious he was. And through the interview, he always talked about what a badass he was and how cocky they were and all that. But obviously, humility's come into the picture because he's just such a super nice guy. And the things he said to you at the end of your interview, are a testament to that. So at any rate, I just wanted to tell you I was waiting for the band, and the second band got done, and then they changed the stage, and they had this great backdrop with that picture from their EP. I don't know if you ever saw the EP, but there was this picture of I believe it was a girl with real short hair smoking a cigarette, and it was a really cool backdrop. And the way they set their stage up, the drummer Jimmy played on the right hand of the stage, not in the middle. John stood in the middle, and then Tim on the left, which I'd never seen before. I'd seen in pictures, I'd seen drummers play on the side, but Jimmy plays on the side, and the drums kind of face in towards the band, like at an angle, which was a really cool idea, And so we waited and waited. Of course, they came on late. And it was getting later and later. I think it was the bars closed at 2:00, and this was approaching 1:00, and they still hadn't come on. And I was just like, this is crazy. Where are they? And then the place just kept getting more amped up, and this it's the age-old thing where the great bands did. I could tell you some great bands did doing the same thing. They came on late, and people just got more and more excited. And when they came on, I was expecting to see this kind of new wavy looking band because that was their kind of their idea was, even though this was the 2000s, their original promo shots were them in white shirts with skinny ties, and they kind of had this idea of the 80s sound, you know. And so that's what I was expecting to see, but instead I see these hoodlums come on the stage with black leather motorcycle jackets. You know, Jimmy Palooza's standing on top of his drums, and they're drinking, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I mean, it was like unbelievable. And let me tell you something, man. I've seen the great rock bands, like I said, from Detroit. These guys were Detroit rock.
There you go,
That
friend.
was the most amazing show I ever saw. And I'm telling you that the Fags are a great band. It's just too bad that people never had a chance to see that. You know, some people did, but not a lot of people. And that's just an age-old story, right? The guys who make it and the guys who don't. Right place, right time. It was just so cool to hear the whole story from John, because I don't know him, and to hear his whole history was just a great thing. So if nobody else enjoyed it, I just wanted you to know how much I enjoyed it, how much it meant to me. All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right,
And
Billy
you have a
C.
great day.
You
buddy.
too, Billy
All right,
C.
bye.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'll tell you that. Go back and listen if you have not listened to the John Speck interview. If you're a fan of the almost rise and fast fall of a rock and roll band that should have been huge, go back and listen. You might like it, friends. All right, I think I'm going to wrap up the show. I'm a little tired, just getting over this cold, so I'm going to play a song and get the hell out of here. I had other songs I was going to play, but I'll save those for another time. I may do a track-by-track of the new Judas Priest when it comes out over the weekend. I want to do a track, possibly a track-by-track of Andrew WK as well. Speaking of Andrew WK, I'm going to leave you now with some motivational words from the great Andrew WK. We will talk to you next time, friends. Thank you so much for your donations. You can find this show at rockandrollgeek.com. You can click the donation link, the donate link at rockandrollgeek.com, and find the many ways you can contribute to the show and support the show and help keep me alive, friends. Or you can find me on I forget where I am. You can find me on the Facebook R&R Geek. You can send me an email, or rockandrollgeek@gmail.com. You can call me, area code 706-621-ROCK. You can find me on the Twitter, R&R Geek. You can find me on the Instagram, Rock and Roll Geek Don't Ask. Did I say you can find me on the Facebook, R&R Geek? You can go to the Rock and Roll Geek Facebook page group and ask to be added, and I will add you. Or you can just tell me to go fuck myself. All right, enough of that. All right, I'm going to leave you with some parting words from the great Andrew WK. We will talk to you very soon, friends.
If you ever feel like something is very, very wrong with life, wrong with yourself, I understand. I have that feeling too. But in actuality, that feeling isn't wrong. That feeling is just being human. That intense feeling inside is the feeling of existing, of being alive, of being a person. It's a mountain to climb. It's a test to pass. It's a challenge we are ultimately worthy of. And rather than dread or resent this challenge, we can embrace it. We can learn from it. And we can celebrate it. Life is very intense, but that doesn't mean it's bad. Understanding this is what partying is all about.
It's a rock and roll geek train wreck.